What's going on, everybody? It's Clint from the Die Hard MMA podcast. This is odds.com, and this is Total Madness for UFC Vegas 22. We're talking overs, we're talking unders, we're talking violence bets, which are some of my absolute favorites. Let's get into this dang thing, and let's try to make some money. Do me a quick favor. Hit the like button. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to move until, okay, it's a video, it's a recording. I don't know when you're going to hit it. I got to go. But do me a favor, hit the like button. Next up, we've got a bantamweight fight kicking off the night. Julija Avila taking on Julija Stoliarenko. This is a fun women's fight between two big ladies that know how to throw down. Total here set at 2.5. The over is minus 200. The under is plus 160. I like this under. As soon as this is readily available for everybody, this is one I'm going to pounce on. We got the under at plus 260. And Julija Avila is one of the few rare women fighters who brings power, just raw power in her hands. Her opponent, Stoliarenko, she's very, very slick on the ground. Solid submission game. But she likes to put herself in bad positions. She jumps guard, she pulls guard, she tries to suck her opponent to the floor. She ends up on bottom because that's where she's confident. On the feet, she's going to get pieced up by the raging panda. On the ground, she's either going to submit her or she's going to get TKO'd. I like this under, and I like it more than I should for women's MMA. That's going to be a bet that I probably lock in. Flyweight fight here. Bruno Silva taking on JP Buys. This is an interesting fight where there's a lot of love coming in for the underdog. Surprising amount of love, actually. The total here set at 2.5. Over is minus 170. Under is plus 140. JP Buys is a killer. This kid is a finisher. He takes you to the floor. He cooks you. He melts you. And he just destroys anybody he gets on top of. Bruno Silva has been notoriously durable in his UFC career so far, though. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, good karate stylist on the feet, excellent chin. I think he's going to hang in there, but I think eventually one of these guys is going down. Either JP Buys is going to get overly aggressive and he'll get his leg kicked off by Bruno Silva. If JP Buys can't get the takedown, he may exhaust himself trying to get there and allow Bruno Silva to get a finish of his own, or JP Buys will do just what he does. He'll get Silva to the mat, he'll pound him through the floor. This is another violence bet that I think has a very, very good opportunity to go ahead and cash. Plus 140, under 2.5 is the way that I'm looking there, and that's another one I may actually bet myself. Bantamweight fight here, Montel Jackson taking on the UFC newcomer Jesse Strader, and this is another one that violence all week, folks. Violence all week. Total set at 2.5. Over is plus 160. Under is minus 190. We've seen Montel Jackson hurt people. We've seen Montel Jackson knock people out, submit them. He's got UFC caliber experience. We know he belongs here. Jesse Strader's a UFC newcomer, but this kid throws heat. He's only got 5-1 for his professional MMA career, but he's got a long, good, solid amateur career to go along with that. So he's got more experience than people are giving him credit for, and he's just a killer. He comes out, kill or be killed, drops his hands, willing to throw down, and that's either going to benefit him or that's going to cost him on Saturday. The total is juiced, minus 190. It's really heavy. I'm not the only one who spotted this. I think a lot of people are expecting this thing to go under. I still like it. It's a lot to lay for this kind of a spot, but someone's going to go to sleep here in the first or second round just by the way that Strader fights. He's going to be UFC caliber, he's going to get the finish, or he's going to be shown the door, and it's going to be unceremonious if Montel Jackson is able to get this kid out of there. Middleweight fight, Trevin Giles taking on Roman Dolidze. This entire card is very untrustworthy, very, very sketchy from top to bottom. Total here set at 2.5. Over is plus 105. The under is minus 135. Trevin Giles, more of a wrestler, grappler type. He's got some good, solid boxing. We saw him get a knockout in his last fight after his opponent gassed out. There's a chance that happens here on Saturday. Roman Dolidze, high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu player. Very underrated Jiu-Jitsu skills for this guy. And then on the feet, he's a murderer. He just has massive, murderous power punching and can end the night in just a single shot. Now, Trevin Giles has shown to be durable until he runs out of gas late in fights. Roman Dolidze, 8-0, undefeated, never been finished, coming down from 205 to 185. I'm going to say the same thing here I said on my podcast on Monday. Wait for the weigh-ins. This is a spot where we need to see what Roman looks like on the scales, because if he looks like a beast at 185, if he looks like he's just jacked and shredded, I like him a lot in this spot because I'm not a big fan of Trevin Giles. However, if Dolidze doesn't make a good cut, he can be a big, slow lumbering 205er, and the speed of Trevin Giles is just going to kill this guy. So even though we haven't seen Roman Dolidze finished, he's been tough, he's been durable, but that weight cut may be the difference. Sucking himself too much to get down to 185 may be the difference maker. This under is in play, but if a healthy Roman Dolidze shows up, I can also see this be a grinding type of fight where both these guys slow down late. Neither one has the energy to get the other one out of there, and it ends up squeezing all the way to the judges' scorecards. Unfortunately, we're not going to know until that weigh-in, so I can't give a pick on this one, and I apologize for that. I literally never do that, but there are just too many questions around what these guys are going to look like on Saturday for me to give you a prediction. I'll say over. Lightweight fight, Leonardo Santos taking on Grant Dawson, a changing of the guard style match here. Total set at 2.5. Over is minus 175, under is plus 145. So we're getting more dog money on the violence this weekend, and I think it's live, man. Leonardo Santos, this guy is an extremely high-level jiu-jitsu guy that converted to MMA and has put that love and care and hard work into his striking, and it shows. This guy hits hard. Grant Dawson, though, 16-1, super experienced, super deadly, dangerous for such a young fighter coming up here, getting a big step up in competition against a legitimate UFC caliber competitor. I am not entirely sure how this fight is going to play out. Whoever imposes their will here, I think, has a chance to get it done. I can also see the durability of Dawson being a problem for Santos and this thing squeezing all the way to the judges' scorecards. Both these guys are just so well-rounded. They have so many weapons. I want to say the under 2.5 is going to be the play here just because Santos has fight-ending power in his hands, and he also has that nasty submission game. He's able to finish anybody, but the way Dawson handles people on the ground, I don't know if he can do that to Santos because he's such a high-level jiu-jitsu black belt, but he is over 40 years old, and that cliff is coming. One of these days, a young buck is going to be too much for him to handle. So I'll say under, but this one's a little bit too sketchy for me. I don't know that I'm actually going to play it. The final fight on the preliminary card is a women's bantamweight fight. Marion Reneau taking on Macy. Total here set at 2.5. Over is minus 225. Under is plus 185. And I gotta look over. I talk all the time about how the women are underrated finishing. You know, the bookies are built in to have these things going over because of it. And we find value on the under because of that. Not here. Marion Reneau is impossible to finish. This chick, she's 43 years old, and I want to look like she does. Anywhere close to what she looks like at 43 years old. Macy Chiasson is the young buck, and she's been able to finish a couple of people who maybe aren't UFC caliber, but everybody else has given her a really tough go for her money. Combined with Marion Reneau's durability, I can't see Macy Chiasson getting her out of there, but I do see Macy Chiasson controlling the fight. And Marion Reneau, she's going to be at a height and reach advantage. If she does take over this fight, I don't know if she gets a finish. She's just not that kind of fighter. I mean, she's got good boxing. She hits hard, but I think this one's going to drag out late, and I think they're both going to slow down. The over at minus 225, that's the way I'd have to look. Not one that I'm a fan of, but we got to look over in this kind of a spot. Main card starter heavyweight fight, Tuivasa taking on Harry Hunsucker. Now, Hunsucker is a brand new short notice replacement because Ty's previous opponent completely dropped out, unfortunately. Not sure why. I don't think it's COVID, but we got a new opponent coming in here on short notice. I know nothing about Harry Hunsucker. I have no way of knowing, and we don't even have a line here for this one because the matchup is so fresh and so new. I would have to look at under because Tai Tuivasa, he's been proven in the UFC, and when he fights guys that aren't UFC caliber, he takes them out, and he takes them out in brutal, vicious fashion. So whatever the total is when it comes out, I'm probably going to look at the under, but no idea what it's going to be or what that line is going to look like. Middleweight fight here, Keenan Song taking on Max Payne Griffin, a fight that I am extremely interested in. Total here set at 2.5. Over 2.5 is minus 210. Under 2.5 is plus 170. I feel like this is a spot where the total kind of correlates with your fighter. Keenan Song is a guy that's been shown to be able to be taken down, be out-grappled, and because of that, if you think that's going to happen, you'll be taking Max Griffin, and you like that over at minus 210. You think he's going to use the wrestling. You think he's going to control the range, get him on his back, pin him up against the fence, make it boring, make it long. If you like Keenan Song, then you probably think, like most of his other opponents, Song's going to land a big shot, knock him out, and that under 2.5 probably cashes. I'm in the Song page. I'm in the Song camp. I like that under 2.5 at plus 170. We saw in Max Griffin's last fight, he got a doctor stoppage TKO. Now, that was I don't want to say lucky, but it was an opportunistic elbow that blew the ear off of his opponent. I mean, literally blew the ear off his opponent. If you haven't seen the video, go check it out because yikes. So Max Griffin is not known as a power puncher. He's not going to get Kenan Song out of there unless he gets another ear explosion, something lucky like that gets it done. But you always like to have both fighters included in your total, which is why we play them from time to time. I like the under. I think Kenan Song is going to land. I think that big right hand is going to find a home. Max Griffin is getting a little bit older, even though he's been durable to this point in his career. I like Kenan Song. I like the under. I think Max Griffin gets knocked out. But I wouldn't blame me for playing the over. Bantamweight fight here. Adrian, Yanez taking on Gustavo, Lopez. A couple of Mexican warriors just going to work here on Saturday. I cannot wait for this fight. It's going to be exciting to see because I think Gustavo Lopez is getting kind of the raw end of the deal here. He's better than people give him credit for. And Adrian Yanez is mini Masvidal. Everyone loves this kid. He looks legit. He's got hand speed. He's got power. He's somebody that we're all very, very excited to see just how far he can go. And the total here set is what you'd expect. The under 2.5 is minus 165. I mean, Yanez has unceremoniously knocked out a lot of people already. He just sends them out. They're not on his level, and he's got major power for this weight class, something that we don't see a whole lot. Gustavo Lopez, though, tough, durable, gritty. He honestly takes away from the under cashing because of his durability. But then you want to flip the script here, and Lopez is willing to brawl, and he hits freaking hard, so he helps the under in that spot because Yanez hasn't been tested that much. He's hittable. He throws his hands, and he is not afraid to get hit coming back the other direction. Somebody's going to clip him, and somebody's going to make him pay for that eventually. Is it going to be Lopez? I'm not so sure. I've got to say the under 2.5 is the spot here. It's juiced all the way to minus 160, and I don't want to pay that price tag for it, but the way these guys fight, I just don't know how this won't be an exciting fight. I don't know how this won't be fight of the night because these guys are going to go after it until somebody falls. So that leads to somebody probably going to sleep at some point, but I'm not a huge fan of the price tag. Women's strawweight fight up next. We've got Cheyenne Buys taking on Montserrat Cornejo. Now, Cornejo is a woman who is incredibly tough and durable, walks forward, and just doesn't move her head. She's a Terminator. She's an absolute machine. Taking on Cheyenne Buys, who is very slick on the feet. Light on her feet, moves well, bounces around. I kind of feel like this is going to be a matador and a bull type of situation. Either Cornejo is able to take Buys down, maybe control her on the ground, grind it out that way, or Cheyenne is going to be able to stay light on her toes, dance around, land stuff from range, and be able to pick Cornejo apart as the fight goes on. And that's kind of how I see this one going. It's another spot where with the women's fights, you know, they're favored to the over. Over is minus 260. The under is plus 200. Got to look over. There's no other way really to look at this one unless you think that Cheyenne is so legit that she's going to put Cornejo away with her strikes. Totally possible. I don't want to discredit her, but she's only 5-1. We haven't seen enough from her to really show that that's something she's capable of, and I think the durability of Cornejo is going to be a real issue. Even if she gets beaten up for 15 minutes, I think she's still going to be there when that final bell rings. Co-main event, lightweight fight, Gregor the Gift Gillespie taking on Brad Riddell. Really interesting crossroads fights here for these two fighters. Total set at 2.5, and it's a pick'em. We got minus 115 to the over, minus 115 to the under on the 2.5 here. And I gotta go under. I gotta lean under here. Gregor is a guy that just mauls people. I talked about how he's kind of like Khabib. He takes them down, he roughs them up, but he doesn't wait. He doesn't sit on it. He doesn't, sit back and control time. He grinds. He will cook you from the top position. He will make you work until you're exhausted. Now, Brad Riddell, the problem with the under here is Brad Riddell's durability. This guy, his counter wrestling isn't fantastic. He's decent, but he can be taken down. His get-up game is what's the difference. He constantly forces his opponents to work. He's always working to get back up to his feet, and so far he's been able to win, and he tires out the guys that are trying to take him down. By just not giving up, by just being able to get back up and having a never-ending gas tank. So this is going to be kind of a immovable force, or unstoppable force meets an immovable object here. Gregor's going to get the takedowns. Brad is going to get back up. It's going to be a question of who can implement their game beyond that, because if Gregor can get off with a submission or some ground and pound, he absolutely can end this fight, except Brad is not a guy that is known for being finished. In fact, quite the opposite. He's extremely well known for being crazy durable. but he's got such good slick striking on the feet. Gillespie, he just came off that life-changing knockout loss to Kevin Lee. What are we going to see from him? We have no idea what this kid is going to look like the next time he's in there in the cage. Is he damaged because of that? Is his chin gone? Maybe. Sometimes you just don't come back from that kind of a knockout, and he's not like a 27-year-old prospect that has time to heal up. He's a bit older, so you could see that potentially being an issue. And someone with the striking pedigree of Brad Riddell, he only needs one shot. He could absolutely land that shot and end it. So I think both these guys being tough, being durable, making it hard for this thing to go under, their offense leads me to believe that it's still possible. If I'm going to take it, I would go with the under 2.5 on this one, bet the violence, but this is one that's so close, it's so hairy, I'm probably just going to watch it. This is another one with a lot of questions surrounding both guys, mostly surrounding Gregor. I wouldn't suggest putting your money anywhere near it just because we don't know what we're going to get from this guy. Main event time, Derek Brunson taking on Kevin Holland. Here we go. Trailblazer, Mr. 2020 coming back yet again, trying to claw his way up the chain. Total here set at 2.5. The over 2.5 is -110. The under 2.5 is -120. Actually, that line is backwards market wide. Everybody is kind of ping-ponging. Some places have the over the slight favorite. Some people have the under the slight favorite, but it's basically a pick 'em price at the 2.5 round mark. This is an extremely interesting spot because we've seen Derek Brunson have kind of a late career resurgence. He's not quite as reckless as he used to be. He relies on his grappling, and that does him well. That extends fights a lot as well. But Derek Brunson is also a finisher. Derek Brunson is a guy with serious speed and power in his hands, and when he blitzes in on his opponents, he can catch them. He can put them away. So we can't forget how dangerous he is just because he's turned to his wrestling more than he used to. Kevin Holland on the flip side of this thing, this guy's nasty. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, crazy good scrambles, willing to play on the floor, long reach advantage here, and very accurate striking from distance. He just picks people apart. He pieces them up as they're coming in, as they're leaving. He can strike you from angles that you don't see coming. I've got a feeling this one's going to look a lot like when Derek Brunson fought Israel Adesanya. I mean, if Derek can't get that takedown, he's going to just get clipped. And if he does get the takedown, can he hold Holland down there or finish him early? Maybe. Maybe he can, but Kevin Holland went with prime Thiago Santos and wasn't submitted or knocked out in that fight. I don't know that Derek Brunson is going to be able to get this finish done, and if he does, it's not going to be early. It'll be late when Kevin Holland starts to slow down, when Kevin Holland starts to gas out. If Derek is able to drag him into deep waters and then finish him at a later point, that's totally on the table. But if Holland is in control of this fight, I don't see Brunson lasting more than 2 rounds. I just don't. He hits people with everything, and when they close the range, when they exit, he finds incredible opportunities to hit people with strange strikes, very unorthodox, but he puts power behind all of it, and because of that, he's a knockout threat from the very first bell. I think Kevin Holland wins this thing by knockout, and I know we always talk about how I need both fighters to help contribute to my total cashing. Well, Derek Brunson's chin checks that box. Derek Brunson has been knocked out 5 times, and it's been bad. He's getting older. I think he's 37 years old now, and because of that, we can expect those chin issues to kind of rear their ugly head again, unless he has a 25-minute Kamaru Usman solid control time and never gets punched by Kevin Holland. I think he's eventually going to get clipped, and I think Holland is going to put him out. And again, if that's the case, I don't see it going over 2 rounds. So the under 2.5 is the way I'd have to look here in the main event. That's Total Madness, folks. Good luck on all your action. Give me a follow at DieHard MMA Pod on Twitter. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments below or tweet at me over on Twitter. Let me know what your favorite total is. Smash that like button one more time and subscribe here to Odds HQ. You have a great day. Let's roll.